Welcome to Scriptural Snapshots, brought to you by Living Faith Ministries in Kaiser, West Virginia, where we bring the living Word of God into your life. I'm Pastor Gordon Brubaker. We're looking at the fifth commandment. This is our second week into the fifth commandment, where it says, "Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God is giving you." You know, the law is our foundation. The law is our morality. It's the things that we build our lives upon. Laws are so important. Galatians chapter 3 says the law was our tutor to bring us to Christ. And when you look at the Ten Commandments are still our tutor that leads us to faith in Jesus Christ. They're not just laws that God says, you must do this. No, it's laws to bring us to an understanding of the love of God and the grace of God. Again, this commandment says, honor your father and your mother, your family. Honor that unit that God has created, and that your days may be long, that you may exist long in the land or the blessings which the Lord your God is giving to you. This should be taught today in our schools. It should be taught to honor your mother and your father, but it's not. Years ago, this is about probably 30 years ago now, I had a mother come to me and said that their child came home from school. They were early in school, and they tried to discipline their child and said, I don't want you to do that. And the child said, you can't touch me. You can't do anything to me, because we learned in school today that they'll come and take and put you in jail. You know, you don't have the right to discipline me. You don't have the right to do this. And the mother was smart. She'd look back at the son, well, just remember, they're going to take you away, not me. And it made him think. Because what they do is they remove the child from the home because of, quote, parental abuse. And today, you can't spank. I just saw an article the other day, spanking is bad for your children. Let me just say, there's a difference between spanking and beating. To beat your child is cruel and unusual punishment. To beat your child, to abuse your child, is a whole lot different from a spanking. You know, I never got a spanking in my life. My dad's word, he could look at me and I would just melt. It's like, okay, yes, sir, whatever you say. But he never had to spank me. My mother, on the hand, she had some unique forms of punishment. If I would say a bad word, which I only did about 3 times when I was growing up at home, she'd turn around and she did it without thought. She just, this wasn't malice or anything. She just turned around and slapped me. I mean, just with her open hand, she just slapped me. And don't you say that anymore? I go, yes, ma'am. And if I was really bad and said something really bad, she got the Dial soap out, you know, the yellow bar, and she lathered that up and she stuck that in my mouth. I can still taste Dial soap today in my mouth. I use Dial soap, but not in my mouth. I don't need it there. But see, that wasn't abuse. They were teaching me, don't do this. That wasn't a regular routine that we went through. It was rare. It was exceptional. But today we want to teach that parents don't have authority over their kids. And so you have kids that are growing up rebellious because they're being taught in school that they don't have to submit to authority. And now we've got people out in the street looting, burning, destroying things, attacking police, attacking Asians, attacking anybody that they want. A couple of years ago, it wasn't just Asians that were being attacked. It was older white people. It was older black people. It was older. They don't have any fear of the law because they've been taught to deny it, to go against it. And so now we have this thing of where you can do anything I want to do, and no one, because it's rebellion, no one has any authority over me because I can do whatever I want. And so people are doing all this stuff, and they're doing it with immunity. Why? Because of the breakdown of the family unit, because we have taught children to rebel against any authority. And now we're starting to find out, the liberals are starting to find out, that these people aren't just rebelling against conservatism. They're not just rebelling about church. They're not just rebelling against morality. They're just rebellious. And so when you get that way, you rebel against everything. And our founding fathers were smart enough to understand that if this gets started, the only way you can stop the rebellion, when we lose our moral authority, when we lose our belief in God, the only way you can control this instability is through military force. And that's, if we're not careful, if we don't have a revival in the United States, that will be required to bring us back into a level of protection and safety is to do that. All these people that want to defund the police, all these people that want to take that away, they are opening it up for the military to step in. If you don't believe that, President Biden just recently has sued several, just like President Obama did, has sued several city police departments for unconstitutional law enforcement, and they're bringing them under federal jurisdiction. They're making the police not just a local entity that can be controlled by local people, but bringing them under the power of the federal government. This is wrong. This is dangerous to do that because it puts everybody's life at risk, because they'll have to use violence to enforce and maintain the peace. When if we just turn to God, we'll live at peace with one another, because one of the top commandments is we need to love our brother even as we love ourselves. And if you do that, you won't rob, you won't steal, you won't murder, you won't burn, you won't loot, you won't be destructive. Why? Because we're all working in the love of Christ toward one another. And when you do that, you don't need the state to oversee you. I'm Pastor Gordon Brubaker. God bless you.